What's going on, Walking Dead fans? This is my review for Fear the Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 15, titled USS Pennsylvania. And the main plot for this episode is, in a race against time to stop Teddy's plan, motives are revealed and convictions are tested as Morgan and his allies infiltrate and make their way through the beached submarine that holds the tools for Teddy's destructions. This episode was pretty good and pretty unique for The Walking Dead. We've never seen a submarine before in The Walking Dead universe, and we get to see some of the characters get to be in this submarine. So that was pretty cool, and it was unique. We've never ever seen something like this before, and I thought they did a pretty good job. The episode was pretty intense because they're in this submarine. There's zombies in it as well. There's walkers, and they're trying to get to Teddy and Riley, who are trying to set off the missiles to destroy the world, kind of, but more or less the area that they're in. So yeah, I thought the episode was pretty good. You know, you got Morgan, you got Strand, you got Grace, you've got John Dory Sr., you've got June Dory. They go into the submarine and make their way through it. And as I said, there's loads of walkers because the previous crew that was on this submarine, they obviously died, they were infected, they turned into walkers. And I think something like, they talked about 100 or maybe 200 crew members on this submarine that were walkers, so that's pretty scary and pretty weird. So yeah, there was some cool kind of horror moments as well, because they have to make their way through to kill walkers one by one. They have to be careful. It's also dark, they got no light or anything like that, so I thought that was pretty good as well. I actually like the opening scene because we get to see Morgan pick up his axe again and go back a few episodes ago where, you know, he was talking about killing Virginia. He didn't want to create this community on a debt, so he didn't want to kill her. And he didn't want to pick up the axe again until he needed to, until he was tested to. And here he has to. He has to pick up the axe. Of course, he got the axe from the bounty hunter in episode 1 of this season. So you knew that shit was about to go down because Morgan has picked back up his axe. He has his hat and he's on the way to the submarine. And everyone's there at the submarine. You've got Dwight, you've got Sherry there as well. You know, you've got Daniel. Everybody's there. Everybody is there. So look, they make their way to Teddy, and Teddy wants to set off these missiles, of course, to blow up the area. But where are they? Texas, maybe? Somewhere around Texas, and Riley's there as well. We find out in this episode that Riley actually worked for the USS, and that's how he knows how to set off the missiles. So that was pretty interesting. Nice little backstory for Riley as well. We don't get to see Alicia in this episode whatsoever. She's back, of course, in the underground bunker because Teddy has this plan for her to kind of restart the world when the explosion happens, when destruction happens. So we'll probably get to see her next week, or maybe even in next season, or in season 7. But Dakota is with Teddy in this episode as well, and she comes into it later on. So you got Strand as well. He's also helping out Morgan because Alicia called Strand over the walkie-talkie. And look, it's hard to know what kind of motivates Strand because he's turned on people in the past. He's done things for himself. So is he here just to help the communities? Is he here to save everybody? Or is he here just to be the hero, save the day so he can be kind of a hero and redeem himself to Alicia? So we don't really know at times with Strand, but in this episode we get to kind of find out. So I thought it was cool making their way through the submarine. You know, this is something new, it's something different, it's something fresh, because also, in the submarine, there's radiation, and Grace was there also to keep an eye on the radiation. She gave Morgan a device which was able to tell him if it went up any higher to stay out of that area because the radiation is high. And we actually got to see one walker who is infected by the radiation with these kind of bubbles on their head and stuff like that. That's pretty scary. Walkers are scary in their own right, but a walker with radiation on it, with bubbles, is even more kind of scary and harder to beat. So I thought that was interesting, and I wonder if we'll see any effects to Morgan or to Strand or to, you know, Dakota in later seasons, maybe, where they get sick because of the radiation. That could be something to work with, maybe as a side plot in later seasons, you know, something that they overcome. Could be something to do, you know. But then also they have kind of a lookout at the top of the submarine as well. I think one of the characters is there. So the walkie-talkies can't reach down the entirety of the submarine, so they lose contact with some of the people from the other communities outside as well. So they're making their way through, and they're trying to find Teddy and stop Teddy. So they come across some walkers, and they're able to beat them. Not easily, but they end up beating them, you know. But also there was a cool moment where in the submarine there's kind of these walkie-talkies, but you don't need power for them. And they were able to communicate with Teddy, and Teddy's like, "Oh, Morgan, is that you? You know, I've been expecting you, or I've heard a lot about you," and stuff like that. And Teddy tells him his overall plan to just blow up the area and blow up the world, really, and restart everything. There was a cool moment where John Dory Sr., of course, who convicted Teddy and put him in prison back in the 70s and actually set him up so he would get to be put in prison. You know, he's chased him so long as a cop, and Teddy was able to get off the hook time after time. They couldn't prove he did these certain crimes or murders, but then John Dory Sr. wanted to put him away so badly, he kind of set him up and planted kind of evidence maybe in his home or something like that, and then he was put in jail. So them two have a long history, and it was cool when John Dory got the kind of walkie-talkie or the speaker and was talking to Teddy, and Teddy's emotions and his face just completely changed. He was like, is that you, John Dory? You know, so they've got a huge history, and we didn't get to see a scene with them face to face, so I hope we get to see that next week. I'm just crying out for that because I think it's going to be badass, and that's so cool that these two characters have known each other back in the 70s or 80s before the zombie apocalypse, and they have this history and this rivalry, and they also have this rivalry now in a zombie apocalypse years after. It's like their rivalry has stood the test of time, and everyone else has died, but these two old guys who were rivals, who were the Batman and Joker of the real world back in the 70s, are still doing it to this day. So I think that's pretty cool. So I can't wait to see them two meet face to face. But Morgan wants to go ahead on his own. He doesn't want anyone else to get hurt. He doesn't want Dwight. He doesn't want to get June or John Dory Sr. killed, because he doesn't want anyone else to die. So he decides himself to kind of go forward through the submarine because the walkers, there's so many of them because of the crew members. But look, the group is saying, Morgan, we're here with you. We're going to do it. If we die, we die. We die together, you know. So I thought it was pretty cool, the group coming together. As it goes on, though, it gets kind of separated, and you have Morgan and Strand kind of working together, taking on some walkers. And then Strand is annoying because I was like, oh my god, I want to kill you so bad. Somebody killed Strand, because he turned on Morgan, because, to be honest, there was so many walkers, it was going to be very hard for them to get out alive, and they needed to stop Teddy. And there was a countdown as well, they needed to get there pretty quickly and stuff like that. So, you know, Strand always looking out for himself, saves himself, and throws Morgan down with all these other walkers, and these walkers are all over Morgan. It looks like Morgan's about to die. He takes Morgan's axe as well, and Strand's going to be the hero. I'm going to go with the axe. I'm going to stop Teddy. I'm going to stop Ryan. I'm going to be the hero. Alicia will love me again, and stuff like that, you know. So he's trying to be the hero. And I was like, man, why are you doing this to Morgan? Morgan's such a good character and such a good guy. But I didn't think they were going to kill off Morgan. I never thought Morgan was going to die. We'll know when Morgan's going to die. You know, it'll be a big moment. He's not going to die off camera. He's not going to get eaten by a walker like that. He might sacrifice himself in the future for some character or something like that. But I didn't think he was going to die. But I was just getting so annoyed at Strand. What are you doing? But it looks like Strand's on his way to Teddy. But who comes around the corner? Only Dakota with a gun. And Dakota got to see Strand push Morgan down for the walkers. And so it's kind of a mirror image of what she did with John Dory on the bridge. You know, we didn't think that she was going to shoot John Dory, but then she did, and we're like, oh my god, we're shocked, and we're like, why are you killing John Dory for? I love John Dory. Now John Dory's gone. You can see him actually in Army of the Dead, the new zombie film on Netflix. He's pretty good in that. Plays a completely different character than John Dory, the actor Garrett Dillahunt. But anyway, so she's there with the gun, and I was thinking, how are they going to kill Strand now? You know, because she's already done it to John Dory, but then it's Dakota. She's a little bit crazy, but this is kind of a moment in time where we kind of want her to kill Strand because of what Strand has done to Morgan. So it's weird how our perception of Dakota changes. We hate her because of what she did to John Dory. Somebody kill her, but now we want her to be a hero and kill Strand. Stuff like that. But who comes around the corner before she can pull the trigger? And I bet you that she would have pulled the trigger. She definitely would have. She wouldn't have hesitated whatsoever. Morgan comes around and saves Strand. He's able to hit Dakota over the head. And then I'm like to myself, kill Dakota. Morgan just killed Dakota, you know. So it's my emotions are all over the place. They're conflicted with Dakota big time. But instead of Morgan killing Dakota, he just kind of knocks her out and she's on the ground and stuff. But instead of him killing Strand, who's like shocked that he survived all the walkers, you know, he takes back the axe, and instead of killing Strand, you know, the mission is more important than kind of personal revenge. The mission is to stop Teddy and Riley and the missiles. You know, that's the main goal here. He could have killed Strand as easy, but he's like, look, forget about it. We need to work together. We need to stop Teddy. We need to stop these guys. They're bad. We'll talk about what you did later. I like that so much. I really like that, you know. Thought that was a pretty good moment, because other characters would have just killed Strand, but Morgan knows that he needs all the help he can get. And then there's Strand, he's trying to convince himself or convince Morgan, look, if I didn't if I didn't push you down to those walkers, you wouldn't got the key off them, because Morgan was able to get a key off some of the crew members that's able to open some of the doors, a scanning card. And then Morgan's like, don't even try. Don't even try to say what you did was good, you know. So the Strand's like, yeah, okay, I'm pretty bad. So they're able to go into kind of the cockpit of the submarine, if you want to call it that, where they can press the buttons for the submarine missiles. But it's too late, because it's already programmed. One of them flies off into the sky, and Teddy and Riley are there, but they want to complete their mission. You know, they want the world to be reborn, but they're only able to get one missile off instead of, I think there's maybe 4 or 5. And Morgan doesn't kill Teddy. He doesn't kill Riley. He lets them go, because Morgan's trying to change. You know, he doesn't want to kill people who he doesn't really have to. You know, he doesn't really have to kill Teddy and Riley. He just has to stop what they're doing. And he wasn't able to stop what they were doing. He wasn't able to stop them letting off a missile. He was able to stop the other ones from going off. So he lets them go, and they leave the submarine. And I'm guessing we'll see them next week. I don't know what's going to happen, because we've never seen a submarine missile or any missile kind of let off like this and explode. So what's going to happen? Is it going to drop in a community like Virginia's old community, Strand's new one? Is it going to drop in a community like Morgan's, or maybe, you know, Sherry's group? I don't know what's going to happen. Like, will it cause a massive explosion? Is the missile too old? It might not even work. Is there a way that they can reprogram it to go somewhere else from inside the submarine? Can they deactivate it? I don't know what's going to happen. I see some images for next week's episode where you've got Dwight and Sherry looking up to the sky at this missile. So I'm confused. I don't know what's going to happen next week, because I thought the season finale episode would be this kind of episode where the missiles let off and then we get to see it explode, and then there's a cliffhanger, and then we go into season 7. But I think Walking Dead have learned their mistakes in the past by doing massive cliffhangers that seep into the next season, because of what happened with, you know, Glenn and you know, Abraham and stuff like that. So it looks like that we will get a conclusion in this season of where the missile is going. So I'm confused. I don't even have any theories right now, because I don't know how powerful this missile can be where it explodes. Does it actually blow up Texas? Will this lead to Morgan, Dwight, Sherry, Strand, everybody leaving Texas or the state that they're in and just trying to get as far away from the missile as they can? I don't know, because also you have Alicia, who's underground in this bunker, and then you have Teddy on the loose with Riley. Where are they going? So yeah, there's so many questions, and they're going to have to answer all of these next week in a 40 to 50 minute episode for the season finale. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I really am. And I like this episode. It's not the best episode of Walking Dead history or anything like that, but it's new, it's fresh, it's unique because of the missile, the submarine, what was happening, the kind of radiation, stuff like that. So I appreciate this episode big time. And some nice kind of effects and CGI for the missile as well. It looked pretty real. It did look real. So we'll have to see where it goes next week. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't have a clue, but I'm excited to see what this episode has in store for us. Guys, did you like this episode 15 actually of Fear the Walking Dead season 6? One more episode to go next week. This was titled USS Pennsylvania, the submarine, the missile, Teddy, Riley, Morgan, Strand. So much good stuff in this episode. Dakota as well, and they kind of radiated zombie walkers in the submarine. I liked it. Thought it was a fun episode, a different episode, but let me know your thoughts below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Give a like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts below. I'm very, very interested in that. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next episode review.